Now on the Locked On Celtics podcast, Jayson Tatum might have revealed his timeline for a return and why he's concerned about returning at all.
Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Hey
there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics. And every day, Monday through Friday, I'm talking about them right here for free. Bonus podcast when they play on the weekend, like Friday night, they play the Sacramento Kings. So I get a bonus podcast for you there. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Share your thoughts about everything we're about to say on this podcast. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It is the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets if you win. If you're new to the show, I'm John Karalis. I'm a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I'm a beat writer for SI. Wow, that's just reflexes there. And I'm leaving that in. I used to be at Boston Sports Journal. Now I work for Sports Illustrated. I cover the Celtics on their Celtics on SI page. I have been doing a version of this job for about 20 years and this podcast for 10. Plus, I've written a couple of books about this team. Yeesh. It's so funny. Let me just introduce Tom Westerholm here because Tom's with me today. Hi, Tom.
Yeah, I'm the beat writer for masslive.com for the
it's you just go into it's so automatic. Some of the things you don't realize. You know what's funny? I don't think people understand. Like, there's like a half of my brain that's talking and another half of my brain that's thinking about other things concurrently. And sometimes I'm talking and doing an intro. I'm like, man, I'm nailing this. You ever seen the scene in It's Always Sunny when they try out for the Eagles and Dennis is running down? Is like, oh man, I should have popped my shirt off. He's just thinking, he's like, I am really nailing this. This is good. And then he just popped in the head. That was me. I just got popped in the head by a football.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, fun start to the show. This whole show is about Jayson Tatum. I just did a Q&A mailbag podcast that included Jayson Tatum. And now he was on a podcast, The Pivot, that he spent an hour talking about all sorts of things. We're going to focus on his injury, his return. Later on, he himself has expressed a concern about fitting in, which is funny, Tom, because I got a whole lot of crap from people where I was like, I hope Tatum is paying attention to what's going on because he's going to have to fit in. He's going to have to probably take like a certain step back in certain situations. And people are like, what are you talking about?
People were mad at you, dog.
They were big mad at me online. And now here he is. We'll talk about this in the third segment where he's saying, I've been questioning whether I should come back at all. So yeah, like not forever, but just
right. Yeah.
We're going to talk about Tyrese Haliburton too, because he was also on a podcast, the one with LeBron, Mind the Game, talking about his return and where he is 4 weeks behind Jayson Tatum and what he's doing and what we haven't seen Tatum do yet. But let's just start with this. We got to start with the timeline of where Tatum is, because on this podcast, he's talking about this concern that he has. And he said, they would have played like 50 some odd games without me. And later on, he says, how does that look with me integrating myself off an injury and them playing 50 or 60 or them being 50 or 60 games into a season? And you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
50 or 60 games into a season. That's like soon.
Yeah.
That's happening like very soon. And Chris Forsberg did the math. So I'm going to just copy off of his paper. That's how I got through school. So I'm going to copy off the smart kid. Home games. He said he wanted to play at home.
Yep.
And he said between 50 and 60 games. He's just giving you kind of the timeline. Game 52 at home, Miami. Game 53, February 8th against the New York Knicks. I've been saying, what perfect symmetry for him to come back. You heard it against the Knicks. You come back against the Knicks. It's an afternoon game at home. You're going to have kids there. It's going to be crazy. It's a rival. They're second and third. They're jockeying for position. And then Tatum comes back and oh my God, what a perfect game that would be. Now you go all the way to game 69 and that's March 18th. So when he talks about 50s to 60s, The earliest in that range at home is that February 6th. The latest is game 69, March 18th versus the Warriors. Also a fun one to come back on.
Yeah.
Tom, did he let the cat out of the bag? I think this is real. I think this is real.
Yeah. I mean, I think it doesn't sound fake, right? Like it sounds like he's. I think he might have given a little bit of something away. Also funny to go like 50 games, 50, 60 games, right? Like, it could be like 50, 60, 70 games. Like it could be anywhere. It could be anywhere in there, really.
1 games into the season.
The thing that always strikes me, man, people have been talking about him coming back and talking about him coming back for these big games. And like, I gotta say, man, NBA players, listen, it's gonna come as a surprise to you, to the listener, to everyone. NBA players are built different than me, man, because like, if it were me and I was coming back from a devastating injury, I'd be eyeballing that February 27 versus the Nets. I'd be looking at something like, let me ease into this thing. Like, why am I trying to come back on like, the national stage in the biggest, most perfect possible? But like, that's how Tatum is. Like Tatum has always kind of embraced a little bit of like the theater kid of like, he loves that, like that perfect moment. He seems to love like the story that he can tell about himself, which like, fair enough, man. Like if that's, if he comes back against the Knicks, I mean, it certainly, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
It's real symmetrical. So, I mean, I do think that like, look, he doesn't work out in front of the media if he's not feeling a certain type of way about himself, right? Like, obviously that was on purpose. Obviously, like, the Celtics know when the media is going to be there. And like, they know how to like, and Tatum knows how to generate a story. He knows exactly what's going to happen if he's hooping in front of reporters. Like, he's ramping up to something. I mean, it's just very clear that he's ramping. He's going on podcasts. Like he's putting breadcrumbs out there. Like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he meant to put that breadcrumb out there. I don't know. Like, but he's clearly to some degree kind of giving these like little like, hey guys, I'm coming.
Tatum is polished. That man is.
He doesn't do things by accident. No.
Look, and I don't say this in a critical way at all.
Yeah.
Him, his mom, his inner circle.
Yep.
They have all of this. They know what they're doing. They know what to say. They know, like, there aren't a lot of missteps. And this is like how you're supposed to be. Like, they are very careful about his image. They're very careful about how he's perceived. They want certain things out there. They know, like you said, they all know this. This is a very polished young man, very professional young man. He is, to borrow the line from Jay-Z, he's not just a businessman. He's a businessman. He is. Mm-hmm. It's just like the Tatum empire has to be carefully crafted, manicured, all of that stuff. So you don't just say 50. And not only that, he said, like if or when I come back this season, they would have played 50 some odd games without me, right? And then blah, 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 sentence. And then back, how does that look? Integrating myself off an injury, 50, 60 games in a season. If I say something here and I'm like, ooh, I shouldn't have said that, I immediately, like I said before, half my brain is talking, half my brain is listening and thinking. And if the half my brain is very Homer Simpson, is like, oh, that's it, I'm out of here. And it's like, do, slam. That's Tatum is very well aware of what he said the first time. And then he came back at the end of that paragraph, 30 seconds later, and was like, said it again. Yeah. So 50 to 60 games is, I think, a very real kind of timeline. And it's interesting because we'll take a break here. What Tyrese Haliburton just said today kind of makes you think like, oh, wait a second. I think Tatum is actually closer to returning. We'll talk about that when I come back. I carry a lot of responsibility in my household. If something happened to me, there would be serious consequences. We have a mortgage. We got tuition. We got everyday bills. Those aren't going anywhere if something happens to me. And I know that's an overwhelming feeling, but I'm taking steps to protect my family by getting life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast, easy, and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LocdownNBA. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LocdownNBA. That's ethos.com/LocdownNBA. Ethos.com/LocdownNBA. Application times and rates may vary. Now that's a button I'm supposed to hit. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Yeah, sometimes the technology works. It doesn't work. Do appreciate you guys being here every Monday through Friday. #1 Celtics podcast, #1 sports podcast network. Thank you for being everydayers and joining us every Monday through Friday. Tyrese Haliburton was on the LeBron podcast, the Mind the Game podcast. Now, obviously, he's recovering from the same injury. He's 5 weeks behind. So Tatum is at 36 weeks. And they just recorded this recently, this podcast, because they referenced Joe Mazzulla's I Failed Medical School, which was an answer to my question that was in Detroit. That was in Detroit.
That was right after the.
Yeah. So that's a very recent game. So Tatum's at like 36 weeks, and now Tyrese Haliburton said he's at 31. Here's the thing. He says he's playing 4-on-4, full court. He says his body feels fine. Now, Brad Stevens said, hey, we got to go through strength. We got to go through scripted small groups, scripted large groups, unscripted small groups, unscripted large groups. I don't know if you categorize 4-on-4 as scripted or as big or small, but Tyrese Haliburton said he was playing against the, low minutes guys, the end of bench guys, Benedict Mathurin, who's coming back from an injury, and talked about Mathurin coming down and like pulling a hesitation move and all of that stuff. And he said, no, bring it on. I want to see where I'm at. So that is unscripted, I believe. Tell me if I'm wrong. This looks unscripted.
Sounds unscripted. Yeah.
Large group. 4-on-4 is a large group, man.
Yeah.
If you're playing full court, that's a large group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I think Brad, right? Brad might have been just kind of listing everything. He also may have been doing a little bit of sleight of hand, right? Because it's like, if I'm getting my son to school in the morning and I'm telling my wife like all the stuff that I did this morning, I'm like, I woke him up. I got him to put some clothes on. I got him to brush his teeth. I gave him breakfast. I packed his bag. What I'm really talking about is a span of like 20, 25 minutes where I did like a few things. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. I don't know how this all works because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a sports, medicine guy. But like, it's also possible that like Brad was like just listing stuff that all kind of happens over a relatively short period of time, right? Like I'm not, he lists all of these he's got to check off this one and this one and this one. But like some of that stuff might have just been like, okay, Tuesday, he's going to check this one. Wednesday, he's going to check this one. Thursday, he's going to check this one. You know what I mean? Like, so I respect what Brad, I don't know if Brad was trying to do a little bit of sleight of hand there of like, listen, don't get too worked up. Like he may have been doing that and just kind of like, look at all this stuff. Like Jason's got to pack his lunchbox. Jason's got to get his shoes on. There's a lot of stuff that he's got to do before he gets out the door.
Yeah. Right. And that all might be true. That's the thing. It's when I was asked the question the other day, it's like, you don't know if that's going to take a day, a week, a month.
Yeah.
And it's up to that person's body. You have to do it. I assume that you do it. They ask you, do you feel good? They probably take a fair amount of imaging to look, okay, let's go. You've just done this. Let's go take the MRI now just to see, are there any hot spots? How does it look? Great. Then after, you do it again, maybe there's another image taken or whatever. I assume they're going to be super, super careful. But to me, the difference between week 31 and week 36, I mean, that's a month. That's a month. And if, like you said before, Tatum's not stupid. He's not doing things by accident. He's putting that stuff out there. What are we seeing? What are we not seeing? Like, this is the stuff that we see. Yeah. What are we not seeing? And to hear Haliburton say, hey, I'm a month behind this guy, but I'm doing full court 4-on-4. Well, if you're doing full court 4-on-4, then what is Tatum doing? Yeah. And each person's body is different, no doubt about it. So it's entirely possible that Haliburton is ahead of Tatum all of a sudden. Maybe, who knows? But I have a hard time believing that he is a month behind Tatum and he's that far. Even if we say, for the sake of argument, he's ahead of Tatum right now, he's not that far ahead. He can't have blown past them and lapped them in a month. It's still Achilles recovery. So I can't say, because no one on the Celtics side is going to talk and reveal this. And everybody is very buttoned up. Joe's never going to say anything. Joe failed medical school.
Right.
Brad's never going to say anything. Brad is the master of like smiling, aw shucks, and lying to your face. Like that's he's got that part down. Tatum is going to craft the build up perfectly because they know the script. But I don't know, Tom. You tell me if you think differently. I look at this. I hear Haliburton say this. I'm like, man, this is where we are. We might be weeks away. We might be weeks away from Tatum coming back. Like this could be happening soon. And especially if it happens in that Knicks game, you get 2 days off. Then you get the Chicago Bulls. Then you get the All-Star break. Then you go out west. Like this is perfect. Man, I'm circling that. I'm buying tickets to that. I don't have to buy tickets, but but maybe I will. Maybe I will just buy tickets so I can scalp them and make some money on that day to come back and for Tatum to come back.
There you go. I mean, listen, yeah, Tatum comes back. He gets, Celtics go to California, Warriors on the 19th, Lakers on the 22nd. Like he gets to play, he plays the Warriors on the road. You get a couple days off in sunny California, and then you get the Lakers, and then you go to Phoenix. And we all know how much Jayson Tatum likes Phoenix. He wanted to go to Phoenix when he was getting drafted. Yeah. Like the 3 sunny locales. And I mean, he would probably, the way he's been working with the team, he'd probably go either way, even if he wasn't playing. Like he's been traveling around with everybody, and I suspect he would have that same calculus even if he was on the bench. But yeah, I mean, it's just it does line up, and it's amazing. Not to kind of just like, look up like, whoa, this is amazing. But like, it is kind of amazing that Achilles recoveries have gotten to this point that like, Tyrese Haliburton was, from what I understand, they have no plan. They had no plans to bring him back. I'm sure they have no plans at this point with like the draft pick that they're putting themselves in position to get. Like Tyrese Haliburton is not coming back this year, but like, it sounds like that's more of a choice thing, right? There's plenty of season left where if Tyrese Haliburton wanted to come back and the Pacers were like, yeah, dude, we need you. I think Tyrese Haliburton would be coming back if he's playing 4-on-4 already. And like, I mean, he was funny in that podcast, right? He's talking about like, oh, I was cooking all the assistant coaches and everything. And like, but I mean, NBA assistant coaches are no joke. Like if he's cooking those guys and feeling really like, oh, I'm ready for the NBA, like he has made a ton of progress. He's getting a lot closer. Like it just comes down to trusting yourself when you go up against Benedict Mathurin. And like, now
he did say that Mathurin dusted him.
Yes,
right?
He did.
Mathurin hit him with the hezzy and was at the rim, and he was still at the 3-point line. So he did say, I still have a ways to go. Yeah. But that to me, like lines up with, well, yeah, you have a ways to go. You're a month behind Jayson Tatum. Chances are that Tatum has done this already. And like in a month, at that point, it's March, right? And you're in the middle of March. And like if Tatum comes back here, if this does happen on February 8th, so let's just say March 8th for the Pacers. For them, they might say it doesn't make any sense. For us, I still hold the opinion of if a guy's ready to play and he can come back, like shake off the rust. It would make sense. My argument doesn't change because it's a different team. If he has 3 weeks of regular season to come back and shake off the rust and learn, like relearn some things and kind of see where he is, he should absolutely do it. Take your time. And listen, if Tatum comes back against the Knicks, he's minutes restriction, 15 minutes, whatever it is, 2 days off, Chicago, minutes restriction, all-star break, Golden State, 2 days off after that. Lakers, you don't play. You pick one of the Phoenix or Denver game. Let him play golf in Phoenix.
You clearly play the Phoenix game. You're not playing at altitude. Like you're playing the Phoenix game. But yeah.
Well, or I say like take the 2 days off. Whatever it is, however you want to do it. Yeah. However they want to do it. Just he's going to miss games, right? So give him every however many other days off, whatever. And to me, like I'm not even worried about like Tatum coming back and having it be a playoff push. I'm worried about Tatum coming back and just, hey, how long does it take for you to become Jayson Tatum again, or learn what it takes to become Jayson Tatum again, and then start next season as Jayson Tatum. Mm-hmm. But he is concerned about fitting in. He is concerned about like, what am I coming back to? And I think this is an important element of the discussion. It has to be had no matter how much people might disagree. This has to be had because times are different. We're going to have this conversation when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff. Patriots and Seahawks. Final chance to get in on the action before the season comes to a close. It's Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel's making sure you are right in the middle of it all with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. So whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, building one last same game parlay, this is the game that everybody's been waiting for. So check it out. It's a perfect way to cap off the season and make sure the Super Bowl is even more exciting from kickoff to final whistle. So here's the deal. New customer, bet $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So make it count because after the Super Bowl, football season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. When you sign up, it's going to ask you, set a limit, set a budget. Do that. Whatever your disposable income is, whatever you can afford to lose. That's what you set as your limit in case you go cold. So check it out. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today's show is also brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season does not have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. So instead of spending hours trying to figure out the forms, which is annoying, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person, or you can connect online. They handle everything. Are you self-employed? You can hand them those forms. You get W-2s, hand them those forms too. They will work to get you every deduction. You can upload documents, go about your day, and get updates right on the TurboTax app. Massive time saver, and it gives you real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. So for a limited time, you can get your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If TurboTax experts didn't file your for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. The NBA trade deadline is basically here, and we want to give you a free month of our new Everydayer Club to help you get ready. If you need a group chat to keep up with the chaos, join ours. The Everydayer Club gives you access to group chat on Discord just for Celtics fans, plus national chats where you can hang out with fans from across the league. You can also get ad-free versions of the show. If you sign up by the trade deadline on February 5th, you can use the code DEADLINE to get your first month free. Tap the link in the show notes for more. So, Tom, as I said before, I get a lot of crap for suggesting that Tatum's going to have to adjust because people say, well, how much does he need to adjust? He's already unselfish. He's not a selfish player. He's going to be fine. The Celtics will be fine. At the same time, they have to adjust. And Jayson Tatum knows that because he talked about, there's a thought in my head, how does that work? How does that look with me integrating myself off an injury and 50 or 60 games into the season? Obviously could be some challenges. And it's a thought like, damn, do I come back or should I wait? It's something that I honestly recently in like the last 2 weeks or so, just kind of contemplated every single day. So he's saying this team has its identity. Jaylen Brown is doing his thing. He's, very successful. Jaylen Brown has talked about how much he loves being successful at that, in that role. What is Tatum?
Jaylen Brown has talked very pointedly about how much he likes being in this role, guys.
Yes, he's talked about. He continues to talk about the sacrifice, and he knows he's going to have to sacrifice again. Jayson Tatum knows he's going to have to sacrifice maybe a little bit more, but however it looks, whatever it looks like, it is going to have to be an adjustment. They are not going back to 2024, Jayson and Jaylen. They're not going back to 2025, Jayson and Jaylen. They are now in 2026. Different set of circumstances, different set of physical abilities. Right now, Tatum's coming back. He's not going to be himself.
No.
He's not going to come back and be the number one option this season. So that alone is going to have to be an adjustment. Next season, Jaylen's going to want some more responsibility. He's not just going to do some of the things that he did before. Jayson has to understand that. Jaylen has to understand he's not going to be the number one option. It's going to be an adjustment this season whenever Tatum comes back and next season moving forward. You can't just go back. You can't unsee the things that you've seen. You can't undo the things that have been done. It's like in any relationship, you have things that happen to you and you have to evolve the relationship to fit the new set of circumstances. And I don't think for some reason that's controversial for people. I think that's just a matter of fact comment.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's obviously complicated, right? Because on its face, it being complicated is why Jayson Tatum, I assume, had to give this so much thought, or at least, had to give lip service to giving this so much thought. When he says that, I'm like, come on, man, you weren't really gonna I think what he's doing there is acknowledging there's a lot that's going right for this team, and I'm not trying to disrupt it. And I think he's trying to find his own way of saying that rather than because I don't think true. I don't think he was actually in doubt about am I coming back? By
sitting there and saying, hey, I'm thinking should I even come back is a nod to Jaylen, you're doing a good job.
Look how great this all is.
Look how everything is going. So that is true. That is definitely true.
Yeah. But I think, look, I mean, it is so unbelievably complicated to try to unravel all of this stuff, right? Because on the one hand, Jayson Tatum has always he's the better player. Healthy Jayson Tatum was the better player. I'm sorry. That's what it is. He was the better player. And now we're not getting healthy Jayson Tatum back this season. So that's complicated. Jayson Tatum has to find a version of himself that helps this year's team while also getting himself ready to be next year Jayson Tatum, because for Tatum, next year Jayson Tatum is more important. But also you can't do that and disrupt what they're doing this year, because there's a chance that this year's team goes to the finals. And that's really complicated. The idea, yes, Jaylen Brown has been awesome and has proven everybody right who always said Jaylen Brown would be so much more if he didn't have Jayson Tatum next to him. That has all been proven true, right? He has made those sacrifices. He is right about that. I still stand by the fact that I think that Jayson Tatum was clearly the better player of the two when they're both healthy. I don't think the Celtics made any mistakes previously. I mean, they won a championship. Right. That was, I think, the right dynamic. But now that dynamic has to shift because of like you said, everything that we've seen. The dynamic has to change a bit. And look, Tatum is an unbelievably there's so much he can do on a basketball court. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons why I think like, hey, this could go really well. Like if you like, Tatum's a really good shooter, right? Tatum is a really great rebounder. There are things that he can do right away that it's like, if he's back on the floor, these are things that are going to help the Celtics in the short term as he gets ready for the long term. But I think imagining that this is all going to be easy and smooth and like, no problems. I mean, that feels a little like little wishful thinking to me. Like there are going to be challenges here, and there's going to be, I think, a really big adjustment period. I think that's one of the biggest reasons. Like, hey, get him back at game 52 if you can, because the more season that you can try to figure out what this dynamic looks like, the better. It is because it is an adjustment. It is. I'm sorry, it just is going to be.
That 100%. So yeah, I never really considered the Jayson and Jaylen dynamic as part of Jayson's return, because I never really thought that Jayson was going to be himself anyway. So it's just Jaylen's going to still do, like, everybody's going to still do what they do. It's just Jayson's going to come in and do some stuff. And, maybe he comes off the bench, and maybe that's just the best way for the first month or so, that he just comes off the bench, and Jaylen and Jayson don't even play with each other necessarily.
That would probably be a very helpful way of doing it. Yeah. Like just Wemby him.
No, seriously. I think we might go, February and March where Tatum and Brown share the floor for like a single-digit % of the time, just because of the minutes restriction and the best way to let Jayson kind of recover. Let him go up against second units. Let him, you're working him with guys that are, on the bench that are trying to figure out roles. You're not, how he fits with Derek White. How he can fit with Jaylen Brown, even though there's an adjustment. That they're going to figure it out. The Luka Garzas, the Minot, Walsh, Ugo, those guys that you're like, okay, which of these guys stay and go in trade talks and all that stuff? Let's figure that stuff out with Tatum coming off the bench. And if he plays 15 minutes in the second and, fourth quarters, and Jaylen comes in and finishes the game off, great. That part is fine. But the Jaylen and Jayson dynamic is going to have to be figured out at some point. Like Jayson, I think, does have to acknowledge, like, man, Jaylen has balled out since, and has carried things on his own. Jaylen, I think, understands you can only do so much by yourself. And I looked at his mid-range numbers. They've kind of fallen off the cliff in January. There's January's where slumps happen a lot of times anyway. But I think Jaylen has to understand, like, man, it would be great to have some help here. It's just where it was Jayson clear number 1, Jaylen clear number 2. I think now Jaylen especially is like, I'm not a clear number 2 anymore.
Yeah.
And he's just going to want more of that responsibility. And you're going to have to give him more of that responsibility, or else you do run the risk of this not working with them too. Like, even if we say Jayson is clearly the better player, and I don't think you can go right back to that old dynamic.
No, certainly not.
You have to adjust, because Jaylen has a whole year of proof of, like, hey, I just did it. I don't have to prove it anymore. So I'm not going to go sit by the wayside and just let somebody else come in and do like that, whether that's right or wrong.
Yeah.
You think there's going to be some element, and like Jaylen's going to have to figure that out too, because he can't do that. You can't. You have to understand that there's a championship at stake potentially. Like, you can't come in there next season and be like, hey, I just did a whole season at number 1. I'm not doing this. I'm not going back to, like, you have to give up some of what you just did this season. But Jayson's going to have to meet you whatever percentage of the way. Is it halfway? Is it some percent?
Yeah.
He's going to have to. Jaylen's going to have to step back some, but it's not going to be like it was before, because they need each other to win a championship, unless you just trade Jaylen Brown, which that's another discussion. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do. They shouldn't have to do that. It shouldn't get to that point. They just have to figure each other out in this new circumstance so they can go win a championship and be legends in this city. You're just legends.
Yeah. And I don't think it's controversial to say, one, that adjustment period will have to happen, but also two, that these guys, nobody at least in this space here is saying that they can't figure it out. It's just that there will have to be a period in which they do. And I think that's the really important distinction here. And that's why you get as much time as you can between Tatum returning and the playoffs, because that adjustment period is going to be there. And you just, like, they can do it. I think they probably will. Like, I think they both now understand. I think Jaylen understands how hard it is to be number one by yourself. I think Tatum now has, like he said, 50, 60 games of proof of how great his co-star is. And not for nothing, all the players who've been around, all these new guys and all these new roles that people have had, they've all coalesced around Jaylen Brown. Like, that is something that Jayson Tatum is going to have to adjust to as well. Like, this dynamic now, all those players that you played with last year, Tatum, like, a bunch of those guys are gone. Like, this is a new thing, and they have coalesced around Jaylen Brown. And that's not to say that everybody can't also then coalesce around Jayson Tatum. It will just take time. So, that's the key to it.
Just expect it. Just expect it to take time. Just expect it to not maybe always go great, that there's going to be like some ups and downs, but it has to happen. There is an adjustment for the both of them that has to happen. And it should happen. I expect it to happen because they both know what's at stake. They know what's at stake. Statues. Like, win another championship. If you can win one more, then you're in this. You've passed KG. You've passed Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is like more than anything. If any friction comes up between them, which I, again, do not expect, but have to acknowledge the possibility, but I don't expect it. I'm going to be clear. But someone should like grab them by the shoulders and shake them and be like, do you understand what's at stake here? You have an opportunity to, like, you're going into the Hall of Fame. Jason's going into the Hall of Fame. Jaylen is going into the Hall of Fame. They are Hall of Fame players. They will finish their careers with all the requisite numbers. Multiple titles is such a rare club to be in. You're already in a rare club by winning one. Multiple, that's incredibly difficult.
Yes.
Multiple in Boston? Are you kidding me? You join the pantheon of the best of the best. You get talked about. You enter the mythology. This becomes
David Ortiz, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that part, all of this stuff that Jayson is talking about, the concern and all the stuff that I've been talking, like, it's right there for them. But they just have to figure it out. Not a problem. I expect all the requisite hate on Twitter because that's what happens on Twitter. So whatever. Follow me on Blue Sky. That's a much.
Me too.
John Karalis.
I actually post on Blue Sky sometimes.
Yeah, I post. I post on both for now.
Yeah,
I swear I want to get away from Twitter, but the problem is like all the brands are there, all the teams are there, all the methods of communication, the PR accounts are all there. Like, I have to be there to see all these. So I just like, I guess I'm going to tweet. So, all right, I guess I'm going to end the show. Tom, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
I do appreciate you, the listener, the viewer, watching us Monday through Friday, listening to us Monday through Friday. I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like to explain myself to an nth degree. So that's what the last 5 minutes of this podcast were. Thank you for sticking around for it, though. If you're new, I'd love to have you become an everyday or join me every Monday through Friday. Really would love to have you there. Also, bonus podcasts on the weekend. Become an everyday or join the Everydayer Club, lockedonceltics.supercast.com. $5 a month, $50 for the year. And if you hop in before the deadline, use the code deadline, you get an extra month free. It's $5. So check that out. Then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.